Do, 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 do. We need a theme
Oh.
song.
That's staying in. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Broadway Besties, where two good friends talk about all things musicals. I'm Jesse.
And I'm Kat.
And today we are going to talk about one of my all-time favorites that Kat has only seen recently, Legally Blonde, the musical. This early 2000s masterpiece, played masterfully in the original cast by Laura Bell Bundy, Christian Borle, and Ofra, as well as a good handful of others, is the story of Elle Woods. Following the film, Elle is dumped by her boyfriend, who she hoped was going to be her fiance. When she finds out that he's going to Harvard Law, she decides to get in as well and follow him there. But she may be finding just a few more important things along the way as she tries to find love.
Aw, that's sweet.
Yes, so one thing I will issue before Kat and I continue is there will be a spoiler warning, so if you don't care about Legally Blonde spoilers, then, and you raise some objections to that, then you have been warned. And also a content warning, this musical does not reflect the views of the podcasters, and we will potentially discuss that, but as it being a piece of early 2000s media, there is some dated content in the show that we probably will address and cover that we don't necessarily agree with.
Absolutely.
And with that, Kat, you have the floor. What did you think?
I loved it. It is now one of my it's up there in my top 10. Which is, I don't know what number it is, but it's up there. It's very good. I was a huge fan of the movie. And so I went into this with an open mind because I was like, all right, well, the movie was good. Mean Girls was good for their Broadway. So I have high hopes for this, and I was not let down. It was amazing.
Yes, the version that Kat and I watched was the MTV Pro Shot.
Yes.
That was filmed some years ago, which I swear that MTV literally picked it up just because there's a line saying, I don't speak MTV.
Yep.
In the musical, when, yes, because there's also a murder trial, but as for me, this musical is one of my biggest inspirations as a writer. I love its high energy. I love the message of it. I love every character. Well, almost every character. We'll address that later. Seems in place. This is a near perfect musical for me. One of my favorites. Now, I'm not a big fan of love stories on Broadway because many of them are either rushed or cliche or been there, done that, etc. This is one of the few shows that actually does a love story that I'm very invested in.
Yes.
That really just nails what I love when a Broadway show, if they choose to go down the romantic path, gets right. What I want to add on that Kat said is that the movie is translated really well into the Broadway show. There is some stuff, in even some outfits that are lifted verbatim from the movie.
Yes, it's amazing.
Like Warner, when he first shows up to pick up Elle for their date where he's going to break up with her, that is literally just the outfit from the movie.
Yes.
Like, including the shades.
Sunglasses, yep.
Yes, the shades are the exact same. And
I would have been so disappointed because you're like, why does he have the shades? It's like, I would be disappointed if he didn't have the shades in this because it was such an iconic, like, that is the dude that she is supposed to be marrying and then ends up breaking her heart. Like, that is the iconic look of him.
As for me, I saw the musical first and then I saw the movie second. So it was very interesting for me to see like where the musical drew inspiration from. And now that I've gone back, it's actually a little hard for me to watch the movie versus the musical.
Oh no.
The movie's fantastic. I love it. Yes. I love the movie still. But the thing about the musical is that it has music in it. Therefore,
Yeah.
that's one. That's like the big high point of it. It's the same story essentially, with some
Mhm.
changes throughout, such as Paulette suddenly being obsessed with Ireland.
Yes.
Yeah, what do you think about that change? That's one of the
That
first big changes.
that was hysterical because then when we find out later that Kevin the mailman is part Irish or something, they do an Irish jig and it's so great.
Your favorite character, Kyle, the sexy UPS man.
My
Of
goodness, he had some I'm trying to think what the word is.
well, I mean, when he
some
enters the
some
stage
buns
and
on him. He had some
goes,
buns on him.
he literally says, "I've got a package."
Yeah. Well, that wasn't even the thing. It was the butt, like he flipped around and there was just like butt, and you're like, oh my god, that's some ham right there.
So we know a character, if Flitty could date any character from the musical.
I would still 100% date Emmett, but I was just like, wow, that is a lucky
Emmett,
lady that has married him.
now, that is one thing that I've noticed different from the movie is that Emmett is given a lot more prominence. He is an
Yes.
afterthought in the movie. Like, he shows up once or twice. He goes, "Hey, uh, how's it going?" And she's like, "Oh, he's kind of okay." And at the very end of the movie, it's like he's like thinking about proposing to Elle at dinner, like at the very end of the night. But
Yeah.
like at the very end of the movie when she's graduating. But Emmett in this one has been given so much prominence.
Yeah, they show the friendship development much stronger than they do in the movie, which I really appreciated in this because Emmett is like the goodest boy. He needs more screen time in the movie.
Yeah. And then they gave him an even better reason, which leads to my favorite song and biggest source of inspiration for me. Not as one of my biggest things as a writer, I will listen to this song when I think, oh, I'm too tired, I don't want to do any blogging or writing tonight. I will listen to Chip on My Shoulder and go, I can write at least
So
one
good.
page tonight. I love his motivation. He has
Yes.
some of my favorite lyrics. I love Can't Take the Day Off. I just think of the payoff. Him wanting to buy his mom a big house on the Cape when
Yep,
he
I
makes her
relate
as a
to that so
lawyer.
much. I can't take the day off, even if I have the day off. I am working.
Yeah, I love that so much. Yeah, that whole second verse, Chip on My Shoulder, I hugged my mom and told her with the chance I've been given. It's just like Emmett has really, really just been given this prominent role because in the movie it's Vivian. Her and Vivian form a friendship really fast in the movie.
No.
Well, I mean, in the middle point, because she starts hanging out in Elle's dorm,
Yeah,
and she starts warming up to Vivian, and they start making fun of Warner,
that's
like
true. Yeah.
because she's noticed that Elle has noticeably like moved on from Warner, so she doesn't see Elle as a threat anymore.
Yeah, I did miss that part in the musical. Like they made Vivian basically the villain until all of a sudden the new villain was revealed, and then all of a sudden it was like, okay, she's gonna be on our side now. And it's like
Yeah,
I missed that kind of slow build of like, all right, I'm starting to trust you. We're gonna be friends. Oh, I don't trust you anymore because I think you've done this wrong, but then I learned that you haven't done that, and then I have your back again. Like I liked the Vivian L storyline better in the movie, but it did
yeah,
have a good like all of a sudden switch at the end for the musical, which was fine. I think it worked well in the
yeah.
musical.
Yeah, now that's one thing that we should address that instead of having multiple professors, because in the movie it's Elle at the odds against all of Harvard's professors. Like they really hammer in that all of Harvard is against her, not just Warner and Vivian. It's like she is essentially the joke of Harvard when she first gets there.
Yes.
And they kept that in the musical. They kept her getting kicked out of class. They kept her bringing the heart-shaped notebook in.
But it was only with Callahan, and that makes me so mad because I liked my sassy teacher, sassy lady teacher. Oh, what was her name?
I don't remember what her name was, but her
Uh,
angle was that she's tough on people, but she does
yes.
that because she sees goodness in them. Like
Yes.
her angle is that she's tough on them, but she like knows they can do better.
Yes.
That's why she's. Whereas Callahan is immediately, you would say Vivian, I'd say Callahan is out the gate shown as an antagonist because
Mhm.
his first song is about being a lawyer, is like being a shark in Blood in the Water, which is a very I catchy villain song.
Mhm.
I love the ending of the, because the way this musical is shot, this musical uses its sets incredibly well.
Mhm.
And I love the shot where Elle is getting thrown out of class and she sees like she sees Callahan like finishing the song and then all the other students are like singing Blood in the Water, but from her angle you see like them behind the doors, it's getting closed on her.
Mhm.
Like I love the way that that's staged.
Yes.
I also like that Vivian gets her kicked out of class just like in the
Yeah.
movie to like,
Yes.
because she knows who Elle is, because knowing Warner is probably like, hey, I had this really cool girlfriend. She was, a fashion icon, blah, 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 blah. She probably, knowing the way Warner is, Elle 100% came up as a bragging point,
Mhm.
probably.
Probably.
Because they brought up how superficial Warner is in the musical.
Mhm.
Not actually right away. Like you said, in the movie, he seems so indifferent about breaking up. In the musical, he
Yeah, in
seems
the
like he's
movie
actually
he's
hurt by it.
yeah, in the movie he like is 100% like, "Oh, I'm sorry, but you're just not the girl for me, but we can still be friends. Okay, bye-bye." Kind of like thing. But in the musical, it's like, "I'm sorry about this, but my family's pressuring me into getting married and you're just not that serious and you're not what they expect me to marry and therefore I have to do something else." Like it like had this backstory, but then and I was like maybe they're going to like give him like a actual good character arc, but then nope, he like crashed and burned and was very superficial and a jerk later on, and I was like, darn it. But also
Albeit
it's good.
he gets one of my favorite lines at the Halloween party. Those parties senior year, I thought we ruled the world. You funneled all that beer. I held your head while you were
Yeah.
like,
Oh my gosh, yes.
this show is really good at dispensing comedy through its
uh
music also.
the best line is the Milky Ways.
Oh,
She's
which
eating Milky Way.
daughter of Delta New, sweetheart, it's been 10 days. Please let us help you through. She's
She's
eating
eating
Milky
Milky
Way.
Ways.
Please let. I love how one was like, please tell me those are fun size.
Oh, so good.
I, can we talk about how many costume changes though that Elle has to go through to be in this show?
Really good. Like the
Like,
fast-paced costume changes are what I live for on Broadway, and this had so many of them, and it was great. You didn't see any of them, but like they would go behind a curtain, and all of a sudden, or she like went down the fire pole, and all of a sudden she was in an outfit, and you're like, oh my god, there was like 3 seconds to do that change. So it was really
yeah,
cool. Like
yeah.
she went from being in a bathrobe with a face mask and her hair up, and all of a sudden her hair's down and curly, and she's got no face mask on, and she's in this pink dress, and it's like, what?
Yeah, there's that. There's of course, if Flitty brought this, or I mean, Cat brought this up. Big thing is that also the show has two dogs,
Yes,
and they are both very good boys.
I love the
Uh,
chunky boy. I just love him.
Paulette's dog,
Yes,
Rufus,
it's so
which
cute.
yeah, Paulette's obsessed with Ireland. That's her big difference, and then which, albeit leads to a sad yet super comedic song about her, like instead of the movie where you just see Dewey's trailer, they give her a song where she sings about living with him for 10 years,
Hmm.
which still leads to one of my other favorites, which is when I squinted he looked like my sailor through my boozy delusional fog.
Oh my gosh, there's so many good quotes in this.
Yeah, and the whole thing is that there's the movie quotes translate too, because well, for fans of the movie, they did turn the Bend and Snap into a musical
Yes,
number,
which is a
because
bop.
of course they did. Of course they had to. turn Bend and Snap into a musical number. It plays out exactly like it does in the movie with Paulette breaking Kyle's nose.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so also this is a big change from the movie. The Delta News stay with her for the whole story because they become the voices in her head after she
Yeah, they're like
leaves.
the Muses in Hercules,
Yeah, they're
but
her
for Elle.
Greek chorus.
And I love when Paulette like gets to actually see them, and she's like, "Oh my god, I've gone insane."
I see dead people.
People.
Oh no, you see my Greek chorus. You can see
Yeah.
them too. But I haven't had any Jaeger.
Yep. Oh, it's
That
so good.
whole scene is just something that the whole and then we get Paulette singing about couples goals, which is when she pulls off the bend and snap, all the guys come in. And
Oh, that was the best thing. It's like she's like, "All right, I'll try it." Oh, she did it, and then like 4 like B-boys were like, "Whoa, damn, girl!" And she's like, "Whoa."
Which then leads to one of my favorite lines that I just look for in a relationship, which is, will you pay for stuff I buy? Yeah, and bake me cake and pie. Yeah, and hold me when I cry.
Yes. That is what every relationship needs.
If you
Bake
can't
me
bake
pie.
cake and pie, I will go with store bought. I'm not too superficial. Like,
Yes.
but yeah, that's the thing. This is, I feel like, an adaptation that's done right because it has enough similar for you to be like, oh, I love that part in the movie, and enough different.
Yeah, where it's not like,
its own
okay.
thing.
It's not like, okay, I've seen this before. They've just like done a song. But it's like they changed it enough where it was really interesting to kind of be like, all right, what are they going to do now? Because it ended the same, but the way they got there was different, which is nice.
Yeah, they made sure to give every character an ending, which I love. I love that Paulette does the "Where are they now?"
Yeah.
And leads to one of my favorite lines for Best Boy. Callahan ran for governor and was defeated, of course, and his wife hired Emmett to handle their messy divorce.
Yep.
And he just waves at the camera like, so yeah,
Hi,
what do you think of how their romance played out in this show? What do you
I
think of
liked
that?
it because it was like, they showed the buildup of how it got there versus like they kind of did in the movie, but it was more like, hey, we're stuck working this case together. Let's, talk while we're in the car. And then it like happened really fast versus this is like he is actually trying to help her pass the classes. He's her study buddy. And then, they show them like going off for Christmas, here's a present for you kind of thing. And then they
shampoo and conditioner
in
one.
It's like, ah! It was so cute. And then they get on the case together. They are really happy about that. And then while they're working that, then Elle's like, well, we need to get you something that will make them take you seriously as a like high profile lawyer. So then they go suit shopping. And then it just is like this great like line of how they get from point A to point Z, which is great versus in the movie it's like here's point A and then later on you get like point G, but you have no idea how you got to point G, and then you have some X, Y, and Z at the end.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I will say that Take It Like a Man is one of my favorite love songs. Like they nailed it so well. I love, because that's something I would also like to just build off of. Emmett starts off as just a pure friend. He doesn't even start off as a potential romantic interest. He starts off being like, someone's struggling. I've been where they are. They want my help. I'll help them and show them what it takes. Because his end of chip on her shoulder is him celebrating the fact that he helped someone. Like he has his song has chip on your shoulder has no romantic implications, and that's what I love about it.
Exactly.
He's like, oh my gosh, she was something. His literal line is, she was something to see there. I was happy I could be there. And like he was like, I helped someone. And that shows how awesome it is. I love that he doesn't have an introduction in Harvard Variations, but rather you have to wait a little bit and it's like, oh, hey, I grew up, with my mom and a series of dead-end relationships that showed me what I needed to do. And then Emmett is a character that I wrote about this like a long time, or not a long time ago, a couple months ago. I wrote an extensive piece, like I did a deep dive specifically into Chip on My Shoulder. And the biggest thing that I love about it is that they introduces him. You go, oh, I recognize him. And from the minute Chip on Your Shoulder starts, you immediately root for him.
Yes.
You immediately root for him, and then he doesn't do anything sleazy. He helps Elle with no ulterior motive, with no chance of dating her or anything. Like, he gets, like, actively surprised when she hugs him.
Yes.
Like she's just like, oh, thank you. And he's like, oh, he's like, you're welcome. Like, he's like, it implies that because he's, like, on his way to graduating from Harvard, like, he's in his graduation year, it's heavily implied that he's helped a few people along their way.
Yeah.
He's helped a lot of people, and Elle is just another person that he's helped. That he uses his position as, like, the class assistant, the TA, to help people. You see that he's really done that, and that's what I love about Emmett, is that his whole character development goes really well, and then you don't even get him mentioning love until the second to last song. And he says, oh, the timing's bad, I know, but he's just desperately... Now, I've heard people criticize this before where they're like, oh, Emmett, why did you wait so long to bring up that you loved her and it's a bad time, she just got hit on by Callahan, why are you bringing it up? And I used to agree, and I still agree with that it's like, Emmett, it's time and place, buddy, but, he wasn't really thinking. But then I also realized he is so desperate that he's literally trying to say anything to get Elle to stay.
Yes.
That's how desperate he is, to the point where he's like, I wasn't even ready to share this, but, like, I need you to stay here because I care about you so much. And then that leads to one of my favorite lines in the whole musical, which is just the bit where he lets her take the floor in the trial, and he just goes, you thought I'd let you go that easy. Like, I love that so much. That
they're such a good couple. I love it.
they really are. They are couples goals 100%.
Yes.
Now, we will address this, but this show unfortunately carries over some stuff from the movie that probably, if it was brought back, probably wouldn't fly in theater today. There's a specific song that is hyper catchy. Everybody knows what happens in the movie. The character comments on her outfit, and then they have a whole song about it.
Which one?
What were your thoughts? The There Right There, when they're trying to get the pool boy to admit he's lying.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, what were your thoughts on that one?
I mean, it's funnier in the movie because it's just this small little, like, tidbit, and they could have done it like that in the musical and it would have been great, but they decided to make a whole friggin' song about it, and that just drove me nuts because it's like, nowadays it's a thing, it doesn't matter if they're gay or straight or non-binary or whatever, but in this it like is like
trans, no matter
exactly.
Whatever a person's lifestyle is, exactly.
And this, they're like, oh my god, is he not? Oh my gosh, well, maybe he's this, or maybe he's European, and it's like, oh no, we're offending everybody now. Like, it's just like
so that's one of the few gripes. And then as we were saying, we both just, that's kind of a song that we probably won't be going back to very often.
Yeah, it would be interesting, like you were saying, off podcast, if they redid the musical, would they keep that in, or would they change it, or what would they do differently? I would be really interested to see.
Knowing the current climate, it would also depend on who's in charge. If the director thinks that there's no problem, then it would be kept in. If not, then it would be cut. In my personal opinion, if I directed it, I would personally take that song because every musical we know has an unnecessary song. Wicked, something bad, or mess or not mess or notes in Phantom. A song that is meant to be, oh, we're trying to be funny, but doesn't advance character. I personally would swap it out and maybe even give like Warner and Vivian like a song, like really work on their relationship, or maybe show that.
Yeah, like show their relationship, because there was nothing like that really shows them interacting other than him proposing, which just made me cranky because he did that in front of Elle,
Oh, what about
which made me
Vivian
so
looking
mad.
at Elle and then saying yes?
It made me so mad because in the movie he proposes during the summer break, and then when they get to school and stuff, she's thinking she'll win him back, and he's already engaged, so now there's that hurdle she has to kind of overcome as well.
Yeah.
Versus this is like, oh, they're dating, and then it's like, oh no, I'm gonna propose, and it's like, why couldn't they just have done it off screen and made it less psychotically awkward?
Then they lead into my second favorite song in the whole show, which is when Elle gets the internship. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
So much better is one of my favorite songs. I love the fact that she gets to slam Warner in the song. Like in not even just the one joke, but the joke where she says, remember when we spent a spring break in the hot tub every night? I thought nothing else could ever feel so right. Well, this might. And everybody's like, whoa.
Yeah.
Which then leads to one of my other favorite lines, which is, you thought I was dumb, but I think that somebody's judgment was poor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. This song is so upbeat, and then I love the second half of it. Because that's the moment, because Elle in the movie has a more clear journey, but because it's a musical, they have to stretch the story out longer. Because Elle in the musical goes to the Halloween party, and then she comes back sobbing and crying and feels completely defeated. That's Elle in the musical. Elle in the movie, there's that scene of her in line in the bunny suit buying the laptop.
Yeah, she's like, I'll show you how valuable Elle Woods can be, and then she just marches off and has to go to the Mac store and buy a Mac in the bunny suit, and Emmett's behind her. He's like, and she's like, don't ask.
Yeah.
I loved it. Like, she was so empowered in that one.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, Elle, you go.
Yeah, that's one difference. In this musical, she needs help from a lot of people, which I think humanizes Elle a little bit. Not that I'm not saying that a character can't do it all themselves. The fact that Kate, her Delta Nu friend, helps her get into Harvard Law and Studies, the fact that Emmett helps her find her way, shows a really good payoff when she does stand on her own, and she, helps them win in court because she gets the alibi. She, breaks the witness's testimony. Her theory breaks the witness's testimony, proves that he's lying. And then in the end, Elle points out who the killer is. So Elle is like the one who basically saves the day because of Act 1. So it's a really good build-up and really good payoffs. Whereas in the movie, which I love both of these L's for different reasons. I love how human and real the Elle in the musical is, and how very vulnerable she can be to trust others to help her, and which is very relatable. But then I love the movie one, because the movie one not also is very real, but very powerful. Like, she is a force to be reckoned with in the movie.
I do love the difference between the movie and the musical, where Ella's doing her admittance video. And I like that they, instead of having her do a video entry, she goes to Harvard with a marching band. And it's like, pick me.
Time for some legal jargon. May I approach?
Yes.
Just the...
Yes.
I object.
There's so many good... But yeah, I agree. The musical humanizes her a little bit more. Makes her, in a way, less like a Wonder Woman. But at the same time, she becomes Wonder Woman versus she's already Wonder Woman, but just has to figure out how to maneuver things differently.
Exactly.
In a sense, yeah.
Both versions... We now have two different versions of a character, and both versions are well written and well done and amazing. We have one that will not give a crap about what anybody says or thinks, and she immediately she has her moments. Like I think of the movie scene where she's watching celebrity couples, and she goes, "I'm so in love with him," and she's sitting there with chocolate and goes, "Liar!"
Yeah, the soap opera marathon. I love you, liar.
Yes. And then I like how this one is very emotional. So both of them are incredibly well written, but I do love the marching band. Just the
It was so good. And then the guy is like, you expect us to let you in even though you've brought a marching band and everything? Hell no. And then she's like, what about love? And then that I wish I could have gotten into college based on, hey, I'm in love and he goes here, so can I go here too because I'm in love? Like that's the whole premise of how she got in.
what about love? And the banner of them in the matching shirts, like
Yes.
I
Oh my god.
my favorite bit about that is that they also show the process as a whole, like her going to her parents to get the money, her
Mm-hmm.
getting the approval, her studying, and then my favorite bit about that is like the dad like Harvard's for boring, dull, serious people, and he like compares it to being out in the frontier. There's no valet parking.
Yes.
And then in the cast album, but not in the version we watched, has one of my favorite bits where she goes, he's like, what's out there that you can't get right here? And she goes, love. And the dad in the album goes, oh God. Like it sounds like it's gonna cost him a lot of money. He's like,
Yeah.
oh,
I also like that the parents actually supported her in this once they kind of realized she was serious versus the movie. They're just kind of like, oh, honey, you don't want to do that. That's for boring people. And then they just kind of walk away.
yeah, I also
Like this, they're like, oh, okay, you do this. We'll pay for it. It'll be great.
yeah, because the dad's like, if you're really serious and you get in, I'll pay your way. Like that's like, yeah, like
Yeah.
that's great. Also, the mom always has some sort of alcoholic beverage with her. Like
Yes.
even
Which I'm really happy they kept in because she did that in the movie too. Even at graduation, they were there just cheersing her.
I love that she has that. Yeah, and then they show up at the trial, which is different from the movie too. Like they're like, we're so proud of you. We're here to support you being Legally Blonde,
Yes.
and yeah, because I love the Legally Blonde reprise so much. Where Vivian,
Yes.
I love that because that sums up Vivian's character. You know, I used to pray for the day you leave, swore up and down you did not belong, and then you just see Vivian's character turn. And it's really great. Everyone's behind her, and it just leads to one of my favorite moments, which is, Elle, honey, you're in the supply closet. I said I'm never wearing that again. I'm wearing this. And she wears the outfit from the movie. And that
Yes.
was perfect.
It was so good. I'm really sad that they did not give Vivian more songs because at least the actress that played her in the one we watched had a great voice.
Yes.
And she only got that one.
Yeah.
That one little snippet.
Yeah.
I was like, no, she did so good.
Yeah, agreed. 100%.
She needs like a villain song and then that song to like be like, I was wrong and I'll admit it. But like she also needs a haha, I'm better than you kind of song that's just like, yeah. But wait till the end, Vivian. You'll be on her side and it'll be great.
Speaking of Vivian, what did you think of the positive song from the Delta News, the Greek chorus, where they're giving her all the ideas on how to deal with Vivian?
Oh my god. That one I love the part where she what is I don't remember the name, but it's like keep it positive as you slap her to the floor or like it's just like whoa people, and then they're like kill her and it's like no.
Yes, yeah, keep it as you slap
but
her
it's
to the
kind
floor.
of like what goes through your brain. Yeah, it's just kind of like, okay, could I get away with murder? And they are literally just singing that, but she's like battling herself, which is
anyway,
hilarious.
she's twice my size. Who has a plan B?
Yeah.
Like I love that. I love the bit where they're dancing and she's like, he's not even here. He left while we were dancing.
I know.
And then the bit where she's like, it's time for me to go, brunette. And then I love how Paulette's like, you're a lotto win. I'm not changing your hair to brunette.
Yeah, that part, I was like, oh no, she cannot be a brunette.
Because she's trying to be a brunette because Vivian's brunette, and she's still very
Yeah.
hung up on Warner. Which then also leads, the musical did this twice. They did the bit where she tries to look like Vivian, but I still love the bit where she dresses up Emmett and he goes, I look just like Warner, but it's just me. And then she's like, yeah, but inside you is what counts. And I love that so much.
It was that's one of my favorite songs in the
Take
whole
It
thing.
Like a Man. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I love that one. Subtext by Calvin Klein.
Yeah. I really want that as like a perfume. It's just the subtext. That will be my new line someday.
Yeah.
Subtext.
Subtext by Calvin. I love that. This show has so many good jokes in it. And then, so we did address that one song. We will also address that there are a couple dated characters in it that some of the humor in this show doesn't land. They have a character who's a supposed social justice warrior who was clearly written by an old man who thought he knows what an activist is like.
Mm-hmm.
And that's unfortunately Enid. Enid's another character that if I could direct the show, I would edit, just because she has potential to be great, but they use her for jokes too much.
Yeah.
And so that's the one thing. This show's great, but it's a few steps from being perfect.
It's almost
It's a 9.5 out of 10. It missteps. It missteps a couple times, but not a lot to where you're like, oh, I didn't like this or that. But it's more like, I didn't like that one song. I didn't like that one. I didn't like those 3 characters. And then the rest of it's like gold. That's so in that.
Although if you think about the time that it came out, when was this? Like 2007?
Or no, I think like 2003.
This definitely would have been.
This came out close to the time of the movie, or probably 2006, 2007. I think you're right.
Release date 2007. So it, like, if you think about that time, then yes, this would have landed perfectly during that point, because there wasn't as much discussion about the topics that we have issues with.
Awareness.
Yeah, exactly. And so this would have landed, like, this would have been a 10 at the time, but now it's definitely like a 9.5.
Yeah. It's a few missteps from being perfect. If it's tweaked just a little bit, this one, because this has a lot of important stuff to talk about. Like, it has some relevance in there. Callahan kissing Elle like that and hitting on Elle, and you realize that, Callahan only submitted her in because she made the grade and because she was attractive. That has a lot of relevance to it. That does. That scene.
They definitely, like, amped up his villainy in the musical, because in the movie he wasn't like, it's either you have sex with me or you get out. It's, oh, well, this is what is supposed to happen, and don't you want to impress me more? And she gets up and leaves, versus him like, you can either sleep with me or get out.
Yeah, and then she slaps him,
which was epic. I loved that. But it was also like, they really like amped up the villainy with this, which was good, because I think that it sadly happens a lot in the higher up industries.
Oh, for sure.
And so it's definitely something that I'm glad they didn't like sugarcoat over, or like try to make it less like, oh, I thought you wanted it. It's like, no, I'm gonna abuse my power for this.
The show didn't even try to play it off as a joke either. That's a comedy musical, it took this part very seriously, and that is incredibly
which I love,
commendable, because then they knew when to go back to the jokes, which ironically enough is like during the murder trial where they go to the actual scene of the crime and the judge is sitting on the toilet and she's like, stenographer, read back, we're going to the scene of the crime. No, not that part.
Yes, that was so good.
And the fact that the Delta News had to stop for Starbucks before going to see the crime. Like, I love that so much. And And Emmett gets his real moment to shine where he's like, I am certified and I don't need to hit on interns either. Like
Yes, exactly.
that's why Emmett's just the best boy. If we ever do, for Valentine's Day, we should do best boys in musicals.
Yes. Best boys in
Best boys
musicals.
and he will secure my number one spot probably.
Aw.
Just because he's the kind of guy I strive to be like. Just that is the biggest
Yeah.
musical inspiration. Somebody who wants to help his family, help others, and just work like that. Yeah, I'd say, wow.
I think the finale is just really good. It's the Find My Way.
Yes.
Was just so good, and it made you like almost teary just from happiness.
Agreed.
Like it was just
because
great.
every character gets a happy. Enid, gets to become a family lawyer, so she's like helping families. Vivian's training for the Peace Corps.
Warner dropped out of school because he realized he was better as a model.
And then he's wearing the outfit from the beginning with the shades.
I know.
There's one song that we skipped over that is a character introduction that's a bop.
Which one?
Whipped into Shape.
Ooh,
oh
yeah.
my gosh, the choreography and singing. I'm exhausted just watching this. Like,
oh my god, yes.
Jump roping and singing at the same time.
And then they would freeze to pause the tape that they're watching. And so they would freeze and she would have like her leg high up in this kick and it would be frozen there until I'm using like quotation marks, unpaused the video. And then she would start all anew. And it was like, oh my God, I would be so out of breath within the first like minute of this. This is
and then
nuts.
that bit where she has the whole ensemble and it gets getting faster, the left, right, good. Where they swing the jump rope under their leg and catch it with their other hand. Like, oh my gosh. And then she goes straight from that to belting. Not singing, belting.
Belting. Oh my gosh.
Yes, Whipped into Shape definitely had to be acknowledged. For me, I'd say
I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, that.
But as soon as you said it, I was like, oh my god, yes, that one is so good.
Yeah, I'd say my favorite songs would probably be Chip on My Shoulder is that is my favorite one, the one I listen to the most. So Much Better is one that I will listen to anytime. That is, people talk about like revenge songs from breakups. That is one of the best because it's not even about like, I'm better off without you. The song is focused on Elle saying, I'm gonna be better. I'm so much better than I used to be. And
yes. And like, yes, my experience with you is great, but this is so much better than that.
Yeah.
And that's what I like about that. Because it's like, yes, I've acknowledged it and I was happy then, but this is what's making me happier now. And that makes me even better than I could have been. Yeah.
And it's funny because when we watch it, you're like, how did she like keep her shoes on when she's doing that?
Oh my god, yes.
And then there is a YouTube video where Laura Bell Bundy was doing a performance and she kicked a shoe into the audience, but she didn't break character. She just ripped the other shoe off and then just kept dancing.
It just blows my mind because I'm like, how do those shoes stay on? And clearly they don't. But yeah, she kicks straight at the audience. I was like, oh my god, I just had this vision of like the shoe flying and hitting someone in the face, like in Mean Girls. With the boombox. I was like, oh god, it's coming. It stayed on luckily for this performance, but yeah. There should be like everybody should have like a glass thing in front of their seat in the front
There's
row.
A splash zone warning. The show has a lot of kicking in it. Shoes may fly off.
Yes.
There's like a hoop. You get points for it if you kick your shoe.
Oh my god.
But yes, if I was to pick a top 3, it'd probably be Chip on My Shoulder, So Much Better, and just both of the versions of Ireland. It blends comedy so well. It makes Paulette immediately like a memorable character while still feeling for her because she sings about losing her dog and how Dewey like dumped her after 10 years, so you feel bad. But then she has a line
Mhm.
like, and if your Irish boy tires of you, you're allowed to shoot him in the knees. Like,
Yes. She has learned the ways of many women.
yeah. But any closing thoughts you'd like to share before we talk about this for 3
Just the
more
F.
hours?
I know. Just the if nobody has seen it yet, you should go onto YouTube and find the MTV broadcast of it and watch it because it is epic and I love it and I'm a huge
They
fan
need to
now.
make a DVD release of it, re-release it. I need to
Yes.
own this.
Yes, I would love if they would do. They used to do like they would shoot the Broadway musicals as like video so that people at home who could not get to see it could actually pay to watch it and stuff and have it for all time. They could take it home, like Cats on VHS. I remember my parents had that.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Not the crazy Taylor
No,
Swift
neither
Cats
of her,
version, like the
Cats
Broadway.
is not a.
I liked it, but that's just me. My name is Kat. Hello, everybody.
No, it's not your fault. That
But
story
yeah,
has
like
no purpose, and then just a UFO
I know
shows
it
up at
literally
the
has no
end.
purpose, and you have no idea what's going on. It makes no sense, and yet the songs are pretty
How
awesome.
did that show
Um,
make so
and
much
the
money?
dancing was incredible too. And I came from like a ballet background, so I was like I wanted to like be one of the cats on stage and just do all the cool leaps and jumps and high kicks and fun dance numbers. But we'll get into cats probably later.
No, please
No,
no, please no.
it's a musical. We will have to cover it at some point.
Oh
But
no.
yeah, I like Legally Blonde and Mean Girls and Wicked and all the things that I couldn't get to go see. I would love if they could have like filmed the original cast and like made a DVD of it that you could purchase and then watch forever. That would be so cool. And that's my soapbox I will get off of now.
Oh no, I will join. I hope there's enough room up there because I will join you on the soapbox. Or
Yes, come.
actually,
There's
no,
plenty
wait,
of
wait,
space up here.
wait, wait. Actually, no. We believe in safety. I will get on my own soapbox 6 feet away
Okay.
and far away.
Yes, very true.
Yeah,
It's still a pandemic
yeah,
right now.
yeah. We believe in safety. Get your shots. Wear your mask. Get vaccinated.
Yes.
And if you have to go out, wear a damn mask.
Or a mask.
Wear a
Yeah.
mask. It's not over. We would love it to be over.
they're
And if
stylish.
you want it to be
There's some
over,
stylish
wear
ones.
one. And then also people
Yes.
won't tell you to smile more because you'll be wearing a mask underneath it. So they don't have to,
Yes. Oh my gosh, it's so nice
nobody will walk up to
to
me
not
and
have to be like, you should smile more. I mean, I smile all the time, but yeah, I'll like have like a day where I'm just kind of like, yeah, okay, and they'll be like, you should smile, and it's like, okay, please stop, you're freaking me out.
And then there's me who
And that
naturally
you telling me to smile is not
grimaces.
gonna make me smile.
Grimaces
Yeah.
just because, I'm looking at video games and I'm deep in thought. I'm like, what game am I gonna get? Like that's
And then the mascot Grimace from McDonald's will never have to have anyone say he's angry because he'll just have his mask on. It'll be great.
Grimace is forever doomed because in the MCU, Tony Stark called Thanos Grimace, so Grimace
Aw.
is like forever associated with a villain now. But like
R.I.P. Grimace.
hashtag rights for Grimace. or justice for Grimace. But yeah, my thoughts on my soapbox is yes, watch it. If you love the movie, you will love this musical.
Yes.
The music is great, the characters are great. We will again issue our content warning that there is some stuff that 100% does not age well. But it's like dirt on a sports car. It's still
Yes.
you will notice the dirt or actually the bird poop on the car. But at the end of the day, it's still a sports car. We acknowledge that it's bird poop. We acknowledge that we don't want it on there. But it's stuck on there
Yes.
until it's washed off, hopefully in the future. But
Yes.
but until then, if you want a musical that will just encourage you, that has a great moral about standing up for yourself and finding your own way, and with a ton of comedy that does land in it, this this is one that I have to admit
Mm-hmm.
that if you just want a show that will really be uplifting and be really positive, I would have to say that this is a pretty open and shut case on this musical.
Yes. Pun intended.
Pun intended. But Kat and I will see you again in the next episode. If you liked what
thanks for
you
joining.
saw, thumbs up, subscribe, all the YouTube things.
Yes. And we will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.